time for the stupidest name ever. It's the Tittle Tattle with Kickoff Kevin.
What do you think Caleb Williams has to do to leapfrog CJ Stroud to be the Heisman favorite?
Ohio State needs to lose, and USC needs to win. It's going to be tough for him to just outperform him, because if Ohio State beats Michigan, that's going to be bigger than any game USC has played. So if he puts up decent, they just need to keep winning, and they need CJ Stroud to lose.
Because he put up 470 yards.
In what conference?
I know.
Yes. Yeah. I hear you. But it's like Madden All-Pro mode versus Madden All Madden. I think it's what voters see. And it's also Madden that you don't watch because it's played way too late. There is definitely a West Coast bias, and it's not even bias. It's just that we don't get to see it all unless you go back and put extra effort to get to it.
Absolutely.
And some people just won't, and it is unfair to them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not going to act like it ain't real and doesn't affect me as well. So, yes, they need Ohio State to lose. Stroud did not have a great game, and to keep winning. He could still win it. He for sure could win it. But it's going to take Stroud taking a half step back and him just staying the same. But that's what it's going to be.
Does a player's team have to be winning for them to win the Heisman, or can they have not a great season, but maybe not even make the playoffs, but can they still win the Heisman?
Yes. I think you have to be a winning team. It's like the MVP. It's hard to win the MVP on a team that's below 500. I think Ernie Banks and speaking of 69, you may fact check this, but Ernie Banks in 69 won the MVP for a last place team. I think Andre Dawson did it as well in maybe 89 in baseball, but it's hard to win the MVP if your team sucks.
Yeah.
You got to be so good. And it's hard to be good when you don't have players around you as well, because they make it easier for you. Maybe you have look in New York. Why do you think Judge hit all the home runs? He had hitters around him.
Yeah.
That they didn't want to pitch to as well. So, but yeah, yes, you need to win.
Lamar Jackson also won the Heisman. They weren't in the playoff conversation. I think they won 9 or 10 games.
Yeah, they were. So it was a good team.
Yeah.
But you ain't gonna find a 2-10 team.
No, Ray, I wouldn't say a team that bad, but
okay.
Yeah.
All right, next question, Kevin.
In honor of Thanksgiving week, which non-Arkansas game, college football rivalry, is your favorite?
I'm just going to go with what I'm looking forward to most this weekend, because rivalries, the Texas OU rivalry is interesting to me, but that ain't this weekend.
I love that one.
And you do have Oregon State, but I think it's going to be Ohio State, Michigan, just because that, first of all, they hate each other, and it's number 2 and 3 in the country playing for a spot in the playoffs. That's it. So it's got to be that this week. As far as rivalry, South Carolina, Clemson's really interesting to me. Mm-hmm. I'm looking forward to that game as well. I'd love to see South Carolina just hit them with the old haymaker.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But they may have just punched themselves out at Tennessee. It's tough. It's tough. I told you guys, when you have to answer questions for a whole week, good or bad, about a game, especially good, you spend 2 days answering questions about how great the game was, how you were up, and it's getting celebrated by everybody at school. It's harder to focus forward after such a big game. I'd love to see them beat Clemson, but I'm going to go Michigan, Ohio State. Eddie?
I'm going to have to go with Texas OU. I know it's not this weekend, but I love that rivalry. I mean, when I worked for the news, they would send me out to that game every single year, and I loved covering it, except the yelling of the fans. I mean, I'm talking 5-6 straight hours of Texas, fight, a boomer, Sooner. I mean,
Why is the same person yelling for both days?
I mean, they sounded the same after 5 hours.
And I didn't know, did you mean this weekend or in general?
No, just in general. But it is rivalry week. But yeah, I mean, Texas-Oklahoma is fine.
I mean, to me, that's a huge
I think it's
rivalry.
my favorite that's not, because it's also close. Mm-hmm. And I've lived in Texas, and I have family OU, so I think that one matters.
Did they say Boomer, Sooner?
Oh, Kayla and I will go to a movie or something, which you haven't. I mean, I say that a year. Somebody's like Boomer, Sooner. Just walk by each other.
That's ridiculous.
That's the last movie we went to. I think maybe that's why I don't go to the movies anymore. Uh-huh. People walking by yelling Boomer.
My favorite is to just walk by fans, like they're wearing an Alabama shirt. I'm not an Alabama fan, but if I see an Alabama shirt, I'll be like, Roll Tide. Hey, Roll Tide. Don't care. Don't give a crap. But that was fun.
What are the other ones in general?
Like Auburn, Bama, of course.
Oh, that's
Iron
a good
Bowl.
one. Except
Auburn,
Auburn's just sucked forever.
Yeah.
But it'll be fun to see if Lane Kiffin goes. Who knows? By the time this airs, Lane Kiffin may already be the coach over there.
That is true.
Dude, the Egg Bowl. How's nobody talking about the Egg Bowl? The Egg Bowl is
both those teams usually suck, though.
But that's what makes it so great, because Mississippi State could lose every single game of the year. If they beat Ole Miss, hey, they're feeling good about their coach. Ole Miss could win every single game of the year, but they lose to to Mississippi State, like, I don't know if we got our guy. There's so much hatred. They're usually not great teams, but they play at the end of the year, and there's so much fury over not great teams. It is amazing.
Why is it called the Egg Bowl?
The giant golden trophy just looks like an egg.
I don't know why it's the egg. I don't know why it's an egg though.
Yeah, I don't either.
Maybe they
Maybe
both
the
suck
giant-
eggs usually.
Yeah.
So-
Could be it.
But any of those in-state rivalries get pretty bitter. The Oregon State when they fight for like a tree trunk or something.
Yeah, it used to be the Civil War, but I think they got
They
away
cut
from
that
that.
now.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Good job, guys. Move on.
I'm just saying what
No,
it
that's
used to be.
that's what he said. It used to also be the Red River Shootout, and they can't do that anymore.
No,
either.
no,
It's
no,
the
no,
rivalry.
Take that out.
What were you gonna say, Kevin?
No, I was gonna say a low key one too. Also, is Washington State. They call it I believe the Apple Cup. Yeah, Apple Cup, and they don't like each other either. I mean, maybe I only know that because it's a West Coast stuff, but they really hate each other up there.
Yeah, I think wherever we're from, we know where the hatred is. We're like, oh, I don't know about it. This one's real. Hey, Adam's from Mississippi. Eddie's from Texas.
Yeah.
Mike, what about you?
Best rivalry?
Yeah.
I miss Texas OU.
Yeah. Mike said drug cartels and
Hey, that's a real rivalry.
or it's Waxahachie and Ennis high schools.
yeah, there you go.
There you go.
All right, next one, Kevin.
Going to the NFL here, do you think the addition of OBJ can really help a team, or is it just being overhyped?
You know, I've been watching the dynasty, the drama that is OBJ, and these teams are really wanting him and going after him hard, coming off of surgery. He's also not 23 or 24. He is not going to come in and be the number one. So, but he also surprised me in LA. I did not think he was going to go to LA and be as effective as he was, but he wasn't coming off an injury then, no, either. He was coming off a fight with Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
And there's a big difference there coming off a season, three-quarters of the season ending injury. So I think he will be probably effective as a 2 or 3, enough that a defense has to pay a little bit of attention to him that may open it up for the other receivers. But I don't think he's going to be a game changer. But I was wrong about him going to LA and being a big difference maker too. Eddie, blow the whistle. Go ahead.
I mean, there are talks that he can come to the Cowboys.
Right, which means he's going to be a game changer.
With the way we're sitting with receivers, I will take him in a heartbeat. And did he injure his hand? Because all we need is one of those one-hand catches, and let's go Cowboys, baby.
But when a leg doesn't work to get you out there.
You know what? It's that one-handed catches I want. I don't care about the leg. Stand right there. Don't move. Catch it with one hand. We'll take him.
It's an interesting play call. He didn't even leave the line of
Everyone
scrimmage.
just kind of
Call
hovers
Kellen
by
Moore,
him.
Eddie. Tell him.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm curious to see what happens, but I can't see him being a massive factor not knowing the system or starting to learn it even in a couple weeks and also coming off of an injury. So it'll be fun to see. I'm not a big OBJ guy, but it'll be fun to see.
Well, plus, I think a lot of people talk about him being, he's a bad attitude. You know, he's too cocky. It's not good for a team. I don't buy that. I mean, every time they interview players about him, no one ever says like, oh, yeah, we don't like playing with him.
Well, they, of course, don't say that. Nobody says that about anybody.
They don't?
No.
Kyrie. People love slamming Kyrie.
NFL,
like, cancer in the...
Talk about NFL. And then what basketball player said that about Kyrie that's playing currently?
I didn't expect that question.
Well, it's tough to be you don't see a lot of current players bashing other current players. When you do, it's massive news.
Yeah.
So that's why.
Okay.
They always will send it through a Rappaport or a Schefter. Like sources are saying, other people inside the team facility.
No one wants to just show up and say it. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if he's a good or bad dude, but he does seem, especially early in his career in New York, like he wanted all the attention all the time.
Yeah, he did.
But you almost need that in a receiver. You want your number one to be a guy that believes in himself so much, and there's a very fine line they have to walk, and sometimes they do it wrong. Same with my job. You want someone who has all the confidence in the world to think that whatever I say, I think is going to be compelling enough that people are going to want to tune in, or if I'm doing a show, they're going to pay tickets. But then you don't want it to be over. It's got to be right there in that perfect spot, and it's never quite in the perfect spot. So either you're over or under always. That's probably the deal with him.
Mm-hmm.
So that's Sitch. I don't think he's going to be a massive game changer, but I do think he can change the game a little bit. Next question.
Who do you think has regretted the divorce more this season, Aaron Rodgers or Devontae Adams?
That is a great question. And I want to go to Eddie first on this one because I have my answer. But who hates that they left or that the other one left more, Aaron Rodgers or Devontae Adams?
I think Aaron Rodgers is feeling that pain, man, of just missing Devontae Adams. And he's had games where he has no one to throw the ball to. And I think when that happens, he's thinking, like, I definitely got the raw end of this deal.
So you're on
I'm
Rodgers has it worse.
Rodgers has the worst part of the divorce, yes.
Adam?
I agree with that because their run game has been so good. They've been putting up numbers on the ground this year, and that's been kind of the thing that they've missed in spots. And so if he had just one weapon, that he could like consistently go to, I think that's a difference in losing record and winning record for Rodgers.
Or have they just had a run game because they have no passing game and they can only run? Like they just do it more.
That could
They
be
just
it
do it
too.
more.
Could be.
What do you think, Kevin?
The easy one is Rodgers, but I also think Adams. I think he's regretting it now because I think he thought, I'd go with Derek Carr, it'd be easy, would be winning. But then he realized that he leaves LaFleur as well, leaves Aaron Rodgers, leaves a stable organization for Vegas, who hasn't been very stable the last decade plus, and he's kind of sitting there like, maybe I had it a little better than I thought.
What I hate for Adams is he's probably was like, yeah, I'm young. I can go do this. No problem. And these years are going to catch up on him pretty quick. And once you hit 30, 31, 32 as a receiver, it's not quite like a back is, where you hit 30, it's pretty much over. But I think it's Aaron Rodgers, though, because at least Devontae gets to do it with his buddy, Carr. They've been friends forever.
They go to college together.
Yeah, they went to school together. So at least they get to lose with their friends.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody hates Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and that's what happens in a divorce, right? You like move in with your friends.
You do. And so
there he is.
I think of right now, I think Rodgers has it worse because he don't have any friends. At least Devontae Adams has a friend to go through it with.
He has friends. They're
Yeah.
just
I
not-
see him sometimes like hanging out at basketball games. Him, Renfro.
that's right.
All those guys hanging out.
Does Aaron have friends outside of football at all, you think?
Man, I don't know.
A couple
man.
actors here and there, I think.
Those guys have not popped up. Like
I
they
watch
don't.
Jordan Rodgers. I like him on ESPN. Like
Yeah.
he does the
His
college
brother?
games. Yeah, he's good at that. I don't really associate him with Aaron anymore, or even The Bachelor, because I feel like Jordan Rodgers is good. Like he's now into his own. He's a Vanderbilt quarterback who was pretty good, and he's now his own thing. But I caught myself the other day going, I wonder if they talk at all. Like him and Aaron talk at all.
Last we kind of knew, right? Like I feel like I read an article about 4 or 5 years ago that said that they don't talk. So unless something's changed from that,
Yeah, I don't feel like they talk.
no, it definitely doesn't seem that way. And then you see Rodgers just kind of how he lives his life with like, hey man, I go out in the desert and like, yeah, I don't think anyone's talking to this dude.
I still am not counting out the Packers yet.
Right.
What do you mean, right?
You can't.
Guys,
I know.
it's only Aaron Rodgers that's making you hold on to
That's
this.
okay though. You're right, but it's also one of the top 10 greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Sure.
Yes.
But when they have no one on their team and that
Can you pull up
O-line,
their schedule, Kevin?
and that O-line is fragile, like it just,
I'm not saying that they're going to make the playoffs. What I said was I can't quite give up on them fully. I don't need you to convince me they're bad. I know they're bad. I've watched them.
well, I'm just saying I gave up
What
on
does
them.
give up on them mean?
That they have no chance.
No chance to make the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yes.
It doesn't get any easier. They got the Eagles Sunday night.
Boom.
Bears.
I think they beat the Eagles.
Hey, Bones. Let go,
I think
man.
they beat the Eagles?
Go, man.
Go ahead.
So the Eagles Sunday night, Bears, Rams, Dolphins, Vikings, Lions.
Let go, dude.
What's the record right now?
4-7.
Yes.
So they're going to need to win 9 games probably.
Oh!
8 or 9 games. Can you find 5 more wins in that, Kevin? Go do it again. Start from the beginning.
Okay, so Eagles,
Win. Perfect. Go ahead.
Okay, that's
Bears.
guys.
Win.
Rams,
Win.
Oh, that could be a win.
Dolphins in Miami,
Win.
Okay, Bones.
the Vikings in Green Bay,
Hey, we just saw them play the Cowboys. Win.
Yeah.
the Lions.
Win.
All right,
That's
they're-
6 more games.
they're
They've won
winning.
10
Wow.
games.
You're right. It's definitely possible.
So you're telling me you don't think they can win 5 of those 6 games?
No, I've given up on them. No. And that's great.
I'm also not a huge Packers fan. So I don't take it as that. I just have faith that with one of the
You-
greatest quarterbacks, they
you
can do it.
Look like one
Yeah,
today.
you're
Wearing
wearing
that green.
That's like the exact Packers shade of green, too.
Did you eat cheese
Yellow
when you came
stitching on that shirt? Look at that.
in? Who are you, man?
I'm here for it. Go ahead. Next question if you have one.
Last one. Which 7-3 AFC team do you think is the most legit contender? The Titans, Dolphins, or Ravens?
Boy, that's a good question because they all have their own strengths. Let's just start with the Dolphins, who have not lost a game when Tua is healthy. And I am a believer in the Dolphins in them winning. Their ceiling is maybe 2 playoff games. If they don't get the bye. If they get the bye, 1 playoff game. I think that's their ceiling. Okay, let's move over to the Titans. They can win 2 games. I think their ceiling is going to be back to the conference championship.
Yeah, they've been there.
And surprising folks getting there, but I feel like they have a surprise game in them. Their defense is so good. If Tannehill throws like he threw last week with Henry running like that, he doesn't have to throw for 300 yards. He just has got to throw for 210 and a solid, like, executing with 3rd downs, the occasional 2nd down, 210 yards and a touchdown. If he can get that from Tannehill without throwing 2 picks a game, boy, the Titans are real tough. And the other option was
Ravens.
they can just score. Of the three, the Ravens, I feel like, have the best chance to have a big game and beat a really good team. Because, again, it goes back to quarterback play. And they've really dropped some deuces on some games. They played terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But they also, with Lamar Jackson, can be so dynamic, especially if Gus is healthy. So I'm going to go, oh, man, if I were going to bet on one of them, I'd probably take the Titans.
That's solid.
That's why I don't like it, because it's very solid. You know what you're going to get, and they're going to give it to you, and you're going to get it, and they're not going to surprise you, really, but they're also going to just perform.
Yeah.
What about Miami that you don't like?
New coach, new quarterback, new everything,
young,
untested.
Yep.
And for no reason, because they have weapons galore. It's like Toys R Us at age 8. You go in, your offensive coordinator, you're like, Jesus, I don't even know what to do here. I got so many.
But not a lot of experience.
Yeah.
To get together.
Because of that, I'm going to go Titans.
Ravens.
Titans, Ravens, Dolphins, but all three are actually really good teams.
I have this like image of the Ravens just blowing it. You know what I mean? It just you watch on some Sundays and it's just like, wow, like Lamar can't do anything. They're just blowing this game. And I just have images of them doing it again. Because at the beginning of the season, we thought, man, these Ravens, they got it. Like, this is a really good team. That AFC is stacked. The Ravens look good. But now it's just like, oh, I don't know if I believe in this team right
I mean, they are 7-3 though.
I think you've seen
You
a
know?
couple bad games, and you've let that dominate how you feel about the Ravens. Or you've heard about their defense. But their defense is, I feel like their defense is getting a little better.
Yeah.
So you're all three of those teams. I'd be happy if any of those were my team. All right, is that the last question?
Yeah, that's it.